இனப்படுகொலையின் சூத்திரதாரி கோத்தபாய ராஜபக்ச இன்று யுஎன்னில் கலந்து கொள்ளும் நேரத்தில் நாடு கடந்த தமிழீழ அரசாங்கத்தின் உறுப்பினர்களும் பொதுமக்களும் புலம்பெயர்ந்து வாழும் நாங்கள் அவரின் வரவுக்கு எதிராக ஆர்ப்பாட்டம் நடத்தி இனப்படுகொலைக்கான தீர்வை வழங்க வேண்டும் என்று இங்கு ஐக்கிய நாடுகள் சபை முன்னாக கூடியிருந்து ஆர்ப்பாட்டத்தை நிகழ்த்தி கொண்டிருக்கின்றோம்.
Vanakkam. As I address you today, I hold in my heart the sacred memories of Maveerar who have sacrificed their lives for the realization of the Tamils' inherent right to self-determination in the form of an independent and sovereign state of Tamil Eelam, and to ensure that the Eelam Tamils live in peace, live in security, live in dignity in the island of Sri Lanka. We have gathered here today to show our moral anger towards this genocidary, towards this war criminal, the Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. We have gathered here today to demonstrate to the international community that the Eelam Tamils will not rest until justice is done to our people. We have gathered here today as a face of the millions of Eelam Tamil diaspora inhabiting 10 other lands far away from our homeland, but still carrying the spirit of for freedom and to demonstrate our determination to set our own course towards that freedom. We are appalled to see that this war criminal is allowed to appear, allowed to address this august body. We are also cognizant of the customs, cognizant of the protocols. We are also aware that few years ago, the Sudan genocidary, the Sudan president at that time, Bashir, was allowed to address. We are also aware of the fact that dictator Idi Amin was also allowed to address this noble body. Thus, we are not surprised. We are not surprised that this war criminal is allowed to address here. However, we want to send a message to him from here, a message loud and clear that Gota, you know what happened to Bashir. You know where Bashir is now. The day you join the rank of Bashir is not very far away. Even though it's custom for the head of state to address the UN, but we are disappointed that the United States state government allowed him to enter this country. They could have refused entry to this guy, similar to the refusal they did in 1987 to then President Waldheim, the Austrian president, who was denied entry to address the United Nations General Assembly on the ground that he was implicated in war crimes during the Second World War. We call upon the State Department to put Gota on the watch list and deny him entry in the future. We heard from the press that Gota communicated 4 things with to the UN Secretary General. Apparently, according to the press, it seems to be he first talked about domestic mechanism to accountability. The call for an international investigation, the call for an international prosecution is not just a call from the Eelam Tamils, but from the international community at large. The reason they are calling for international investigation and prosecution because Sri Lankan state, the Sri Lankan state institutions are permitted with inherent pervasive racism, and there is no space for Tamils to have justice in the island of Sri Lanka. Secondly, is the fundamental principle that an accused cannot be a judge. The genocide was perpetrated against the Eelam Tamil, but not by one single person, not by one single army battalion, but by the state of Sri Lanka itself. The whole Sri Lankan state did the genocide against us. Therefore, the state of genocide, the state of Sri Lanka cannot be a judge in the investigation or prosecution in connection with accountability. Secondly, he is talking about giving amnesty. We urge him to stop this rubbish talk of amnesty. Who is to forgive who? All the prisoners of war, all the political prisoners, they should have been released immediately. Under the international humanitarian law, when the conflict ends, when the armed conflict ends, all the combatants should be treated with dignity and should released upon the cessation of conflict. The armed conflict ended more than 10 years ago. Still our brothers and sisters are languishing in the Sri Lankan jail. The continued detention of the prisoners of war itself is a crime against humanity. We call upon the international community to prosecute those people, to put them at this, to have sanction against these people, and put these people on the watch list. Thirdly, apparently he has spoken about the Office of Missing Persons. The OMP is nothing but a gimmick that Gota is perpetrating to deceive the international community. The OMP, the Office of Missing Person, is actually contrary to the spirit of the Human Rights Council Resolution 30/1, which calls upon the participation of international experts. But what he has done, he has appointed the perpetrators of disappearance in the commission. So the OMP will never solve the Tamil problem. And now he is talking about he is going to issue death certificate. To whom? For what? All we want to know what happened to our loved ones. The victim's family want to know the truth. They have a right to know. They have a right to know the truth. We want the truth. We want investigation. We want justice. We want to allow the Sri Lankan state to bury these people, just to bury this issue. We will not allow the Sri Lankan state to bury their cruelty. And thirdly, he has talked about, finally, he said he is willing to talk to Tamil diaspora. Yesterday we issued a press release. In fact, we said in the press release, we said we are not quite sure whether Gota is delusional, Gota is desperate, or maybe he's a combination of both at present. Here, the fact that his call to the Tamil diaspora is similar to the Hitler's call to the Jewish diaspora to come for talks if hypothetically Hitler managed to remain in power after the Holocaust. Our position is that we will never engage with the genocidery. And also in our press release, we have said if anyone is interested in have any kind of a talks, certain things must be fulfilled. But fundamentally, our position is that the Tamil national question should be resolved through a referendum. And we are willing to talk to Gota about the logistics of having a referendum. But otherwise, we are nothing to talk to Gota at this stage. Brothers and sisters, now we have come to the conclusion of our rally today. But our Mahaveerar, they have taken our Tamil struggle to the international arena. They have internationalized the Tamil struggle for freedom. It is now incumbent upon us to take it to the next stage. It is incumbent upon us to create a situation in a day soon when the head of the Tamil Eelam, the head of the independent state of Tamil Eelam shall address this noble body soon, and Gota rottens in jail. Thank you. The Tamil's destiny is in Tamil's hand. The thirst of Tamils is Tamil Eelam. Tamilarin Talavidi, Tamilarin Kayil, Tamilarin Dagam, Tamil Dayakam.
Gota, go back, Gota. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Sri Lankan president, is a war criminal. He has the blood of Tamils in his hand. He has the blood of Tamils